If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I mean, Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show?
The morning scroll felt routine until Sunny Hostin's name popped up for something far spicier than a talk show debate. Headlines screamed that her husband, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, had been swept into a colossal RICO fraud lawsuit, one of the largest ever filed in New York, with roughly 180 co-defendants. Allegations, kickbacks, phantom surgeries, insurance bills that read like fantasy novels. The comment section lit up faster than a microwave burrito, but the biggest shock wasn't the charges themselves. It was how quickly podcasters sharpened their knives. 2. Rogan's instant roast. Joe Rogan was first out of the gate. On his mic, he described Sunny as a perpetual morality lecturer who suddenly looked less saintly under the neon lights of a fraud indictment. Then he took aim at her talk show intellect. If you average those hosts' IQs, you'd still need a step stool, he joked. Harsh? Absolutely. But Rogan's fans devoured every second, posting meme after meme of dramatic gasp faces and gavel emojis. Rogan framed the scandal as a trust issue, the physician's oath colliding head-on with dollar-sign temptation. Listeners could almost hear him shake his head through the earbuds, equal parts baffled and delighted by the sheer messiness. Third Kelly's surgical dissection. Megyn Kelly followed, scalpel in hand. She skipped the jokes about intelligence and drilled into credibility. Sunny has spent years condemning systemic failures, Kelly noted, yet now sits inches from a RICO defendant. Kelly replayed recent clips of Sunny demanding accountability from others, letting the irony hang heavy. The theme wasn't politics, it was hypocrisy. If you stand on a moral soapbox, Kelly quipped, check for termites before the spotlight hits. Social feeds erupted with side-by-side videos, Sunny chastising public figures in one frame, her husband's indictment headline in the other. The contrast did more damage than any punchline. 4. Inside the allegations. The lawsuit reads like a medical thriller script. Prosecutors claim Dr. Hostin and a network of clinics steered accident victims, rideshare drivers, cabbies, toward unnecessary arthroscopic surgeries. In return, insurers allegedly got gouged for procedures that should have cost peanuts or never should have happened at all. The plaintiff, American Transit Insurance Co-Spur, insists it lost millions and labels the scheme industrial scale. Hostin's legal team fires back. Meritless, desperate, last-ditch attempt by a struggling carrier. Translation: you're broke, so you're blaming my client. The surgical instruments haven't even cooled, and already the finger-pointing rivals a game of hot potato. 5. Silent studio lights. Sunny Hostin, normally quick to tackle controversy on air, has said next to nothing. Her social accounts promote book club pics and smoothie recipes, but the RICO elephant sits center stage. Viewers debate whether she's strategizing or just stunned. Industry PR gurus whisper that silence can be golden, unless it drags on, at which point it morphs into guilt by omission. Each new day without a statement cranks the speculation dial higher. Is she circling the wagons, negotiating a settlement, drafting the ultimate on-air mea culpa? 6th Internet Court of Public Opinion. Within hours of the first wire service alert, every major social platform morphed into a real-time courtroom, and nobody waited for opening statements. On X, the hashtag number RICO reality climbed the US trending board in under 15 minutes, leapfrogging new music releases and playoff highlights. Armchair legal analysts, many armed only with an undergraduate business class, picked apart the 120-page complaint line by line, screenshotting paragraphs and overlaying neon yellow emojis as if they'd uncovered state secrets. TikTok creators got even more theatrical. Ring lights blazing, they reenacted imaginary depositions where Dr. Manny tried to explain phantom surgeries to stone-faced adjusters. Some clips used actual surgical props, latex gloves, knee braces, even demo skeletons borrowed from college labs. scoring millions of views in a single afternoon. Instagram meme pages took a different route, splicing Sunny's most forceful on-air moral lectures with headlines about unnecessary arthroscopy. The split-screen format did the heavy lifting. One side showed Sunny condemning unethical behavior. The other quoted court documents about alleged kickbacks. Few captions were longer than 5 words. The sarcasm was self-evident. Even neutral wellness influencers, accounts normally dedicated to yoga poses and matcha recipes, posted stories asking, "Would you trust your surgeon after this?" Poll stickers tilted 70-30 toward absolutely not. Meanwhile, long-form podcasters smelled content gold. Tech shows discussed how electronic medical record audits could expose or exonerate Hostin's clinic. Economics channels debated whether healthcare fraud is an inevitable side effect of fee-for-service payment models. True crime hosts dropped emergency episodes, complete with ominous string section bumpers, speculating on potential plea deals. Across platforms, a rare unity of tone emerged. Disbelief that a daytime TV family could be connected to one of the largest alleged medical scams in state history. Yet the swarm wasn't uniformly hostile. A minority contingency, mostly medical profession pages, cautioned followers to reserve judgment, posting carousels entitled "What Actually Counts as RICO" and "Why Unnecessary Surgery is Hard to Prove." Their reach paled next to viral meme machines, but they planted seeds of reasonable doubt. Still, algorithmic gravity favors outrage, and for every sober explainer, there were 50 gifs of scalpels raining like dollar bills. When social sentiment trackers compiled their first-day heat map, negative and mocking reactions occupied 2/3 of the pie. Neutral curiosity made up most of the rest. Genuine sympathy barely registered. In the digital age, reputations aren't tried. They're live-streamed. 7th courtroom chessboard. While timelines exploded with gifs, attorneys on both sides locked into what one paralegal called a discovery arms race. The plaintiffs, chiefly American Transit Insurance Co., filed an initial list of 300,000 digital exhibits, billing ledgers, radiology images, even time-stamped swipe cards showing when patients entered surgical bays. Their opening tactic is classic. Overwhelm the defense with data, then highlight inconsistencies that look like smoke from a larger fire. Word inside the clerk's office is that a dedicated terabyte server had to be spun up just to host the medical record drop. Dr. Hostin's camp counter-punched by subpoenaing 5 years of internal emails from the insurer, hoping to reveal algorithms that auto-denied claims and delayed payments. If they can prove systemic under-reimbursement, they'll argue any aggressive billing was simple self-preservation. One associate close to the defense joked, "If this goes to a jury, we're putting the entire healthcare payment model on trial." Behind that bravado sits a sober strategy. Muddy the waters until jurors can't tell predatory surgery from predatory actuarial tables. Adding complexity, at least a dozen co-defendant clinics are rumored to be negotiating quiet settlements. Each potential plea deal threatens to shift the narrative. If even one surgeon admits to kickbacks, prosecutors will spin it as validation that the conspiracy web exists. The Hostin team knows this and has begun filing severance motions, requests to split Dr. Hostin's case from the broader cluster so he's judged on his own evidence, not his neighbor's guilty conscience. Judges rarely grant such petitions in sprawling actions, but the mere filing signals a willingness to fight every inch. Expert witnesses are already lining up. The plaintiffs hired a retired hospital CFO who once taught medical device fraud at a top business school. The defense retained a bioethicist known for testifying that some unnecessary procedures later prove beneficial, blurring lines of intent. Both sides issued notice to depose rideshare drivers whose injuries kicked off the billing chain. Expect sympathetic storytelling, photos of totaled sedans next to post-op stitches. Timeline guesses vary wildly. Optimists say an 18-month slog, pessimists foresee half a decade. Either way, motion hearings will generate fresh headlines every quarter, feeding news cycles and influencer commentary. In courtroom chess, discovery is mid-game. Checkmate comes when one side's narrative feels inevitable. Right now, both kings remain standing, surrounded by pawns ready to fall. 8. What's really on trial? Strip away the celebrity marriages, the talk show lectures, even the RICO acronyms, and you arrive at a quieter, more unsettling tale, the fragility of trust between patient and provider. Most people never read an operative report. They sign consent forms, count backward from 10 under anesthesia, and assume everyone in scrubs is guided by ethics first, profit second. When allegations like these surface, claims that scalpels moved not because knees required it, but because spreadsheets rewarded it, the psychological collateral spills far beyond a single practice. Consider the typical accident victim named in this suit. He might be a night shift rideshare driver with a torn meniscus, told arthroscopy would get him back on the road. He believes the white coat because the system tells him to. If prosecutors are correct, some of those individuals woke up with surgical scars that served an accounting plan more than a medical one. Even if Hostin is ultimately cleared, the case cracks open a disquieting possibility that patients are occasionally commodities in a balance sheet chess game. On the flip side, insurance carriers are hardly altruistic lifeguards. They design policy labyrinths so dense that even veteran clinicians need coding specialists to navigate reimbursements. When they delay or slash payments, smaller practices sometimes face existential choices: cut staff, refuse high-risk patients, or bill more aggressively to stay afloat. In that pressure cooker, a handful of bad actors, or simply desperate ones, may cross ethical borders. If Dr. Hostin's defense proves that addicts systematically stiffed providers, public sympathy could tilt. People know the sting of denied coverage. Resentment toward insurers is a bipartisan pastime. Zoom out again, and the pattern repeats across industries. Whenever an ecosystem mixes opaque pricing, life and death stakes, and lopsided information, temptation festers. Think of car mechanics recommending unnecessary repairs or tech firms upselling pointless warranties. Yet medicine feels different because stakes include bones, nerves, waking up whole. That's why the Hostin saga resonates. It forces the layperson to wonder, if a well-paid surgeon in an affluent suburb might game the system, what happens in under-resourced regions where oversight is thinner? Ultimately, the case functions as a referendum on how society values transparency. Do we want a healthcare structure where billing codes hide more than they reveal? Or will public outrage finally pressure regulators to simplify, digitize, and audit in real time? Whatever the verdict, patients will remember the unease, counting backward from 10, hoping the scalpel's motive is healing rather than hustling. 9. Wrap up: the price of credibility. Celebrity or civilian, talk show host or podcast titan, credibility takes years to earn and one headline to torch. Joe Rogan's laughter and Megyn Kelly's precision cuts remind us that the court of public opinion moves faster than any legal docket. By tomorrow, clips of Sunny's past sermons on integrity will overlay fresh footage of courthouse steps. Mashups will replay her husband's alleged kickbacks against her on-air condemnations of greed. The inconsistency sells, because audiences crave narrative symmetry. If you preach, you must practice. Yet Schadenfreude masks a deeper unease. Everyone depends on systems they barely understand. Insurance codes, surgical protocols, billing departments tucked inside office parks. When the people running those systems appear compromised, distrust spreads like a virus. Patients wonder if their own procedures were strictly necessary. Insurers wonder if their next lawsuit will be painted as retaliation. Viewers wonder if any public figure truly lives the values they broadcast nightly. So, where does that leave us? Waiting, popcorn ready, notifications on, while attorneys trade motions and commentators trade barbs. Eventually, a verdict or settlement will land, but the reputational sentence is already underway. Whether Dr. Hostin walks free or falls, Sunny's brand will carry the scorch marks, Rogan will archive another viral rant, and Kelly will have fresh case law for her next monologue on consistency. The moral isn't that doctors should never earn robust incomes, or that insurers are always villains. It's simpler. Sunlight hits everyone. If you occupy a spotlight, expect that every backstage detail, professional, personal, or marital, can be subpoenaed by curiosity. And if you ride a soapbox built on moral certitude, reinforce the planks, because one loose board can send the whole structure crashing into meme eternity. Thanks for sticking through the deep dive. Hit that subscribe button if you want front row seats to the next reputational roller coaster. Until then, take care, and maybe double check that surgical recommendation.